Once, in the rugged mountains of the north, there was an eagle named Kale. He was the largest and most majestic eagle in the entire valley, with golden feathers that shimmered like the sun. His wingspan stretched over 7 feet, and his talons could grip the toughest prey. But Kale wasn't just known for his size. He was known for something far rarer: wisdom. Kale had watched the valley for years, seeing seasons change and the cycle of life unfold. He'd seen countless eagles soar high above the mountains, but none had the same understanding of the land as he did. One winter, when the winds howled fiercely, Kale began to notice something disturbing. The forest below was growing quieter. The deer herds were thinning. Something was wrong with the balance of nature. One morning, Kale saw a young eagle, barely a year old, struggling to fly against the wind. Her wings flapped desperately but lacked the power to cut through the air. Kale, always the teacher, flew down beside her. "Why do you struggle?" Kale asked in a voice that was both thunderous and gentle. The young eagle gasped for breath, her feathers ruffled by the fierce storm. "I don't know. I thought I could soar like you, but I can't." Kale looked around and saw what the young eagle couldn't. The sky was different. The winds weren't just harsh, they were shifting. The seasons had changed in ways the creatures of the valley hadn't yet realized. "Listen to the wind," Kale said. "The winds are changing, and so must you. Life is not always easy, but it is always about adapting." With those words, Kale led the young eagle to the peak of the highest mountain, where the winds roared like ancient spirits. He spread his wings wide, letting the wind embrace him. "Now, fly," he commanded. The young eagle hesitated, but Kale's voice was like the call of the earth itself. She spread her wings, took a deep breath, and pushed off the rocky edge. The air was thick with the power of the mountain, but she was ready. At first, she faltered, but then she remembered Kale's words. She adjusted her wings, finding the currents in the air, and suddenly she was flying, not just against the wind, but with it. She soared higher and higher, feeling a freedom she never knew existed. Kale, from below, watched with pride. As the young eagle disappeared into the clouds, Kale felt a sense of fulfillment. He had passed on his knowledge, his wisdom. That night, the winds carried him higher than ever before. As he flew over the valley one final time, Kale felt his body grow tired. He had lived long, seen much, and taught many. It was time for him to rest. The next morning, the valley awoke to find that Kale, the golden eagle, had vanished, leaving only a single feather on the peak of the mountain. The winds whispered his name as if thanking him, and every eagle that flew afterward carried a piece of his spirit. And so, Kale became a legend, a symbol of wisdom and strength that would guide the eagles for generations to come. His final flight was the beginning of a new chapter in the valley's story, one that would live on in the hearts of all who soared beneath the endless sky.